Ah, I'm a billy goat, get it? Ladies and gents, my name is Peridiam, and in this video I will be discussing and ranking who I believe are the top 5 greatest goats in the history of Survivor. That's right, goats. You know, as in the cute little goat Sandra's tribe found in Game Changers.
Catching a goat was never on my bucket list. And we pick it up and start heading back to camp and realize that the only reason we caught it was because it was a mama goat and it didn't want to run away from its baby. So we don't really have a choice. We won't kill him because we have a conscience.
We've got to eat.
But I have to be very careful what I say to Sandra because Sandra desperately wants to eat the goat.
Thankfully they didn't eat that, but they did. No, not those goats. Gameplay goats. Actually, kind of similar to real life goats, only they take the form of players who basically have no shot to win whatsoever in almost any circumstance. In some cases, they may have the lowest chance to win of the entire cast. You don't want to be a goat, nobody does. But perception often dictates reality in Survivor, and goats happen to be players who are perceived as easy beats. Drag them to the slaughterhouse kicking and screaming, or let them drag themselves there. Either way, you sit with them at the final tribal council and you crush them because nobody on the jury perceives them as worthy of the win. Before I get on with the list, I want to say that the exact definition of a goat is somewhat up for debate. Some people define goats as players that are totally useless, they were dragged to the end. Others believe a goat simply has to have no chance to win no matter how much agency they have in the game. I personally subscribe to the idea that there are all kinds of goats in Survivor, some more responsive than others, but in the end, whether the player has power and control or not, they are still a goat if they basically stand no chance to win. You can call them a power goat or what have you, but to me a goat doesn't really need to be dragged, they just need to have no shot at winning the game. And for the sake of this list, these are only going to be people who made it to the final tribal council and didn't win. Now, pardon me while I drag you through this video as I get on with ranking the top 5 greatest goats, and no, not the greatest of all time, well, sort of, in all of Survivor, starting with number 5.
Okay, now we're playing Stupid Survivor, because this makes 0 sense. I am so confused. Like, don't you want to win?
We're gonna go way back to the days of yesteryear with this first one, to a time when pirates ruled the seas and outcasts roamed the tribes, when being a Scoutmaster actually meant something. Number 5 is Lillian Morris, the Scoutmaster from Survivor Pearl Islands, a woman who believed nothing ever went her way and was all too quick to remind us just how bad she had it.
Lillian in a scout uniform was interesting to say the least. I was completely thrown off kilter when I saw that. I didn't know what the hell was going on or whether it was a joke or what was going on. I was just confused.
It's real hard to take off the scout hat. It's real hard not to be the Scoutmaster here.
Indeed, Lil didn't have her work cut out for her in the Pearl Islands, probably because she kind of failed to contribute on her Morgan tribe, thus getting her voted out by episode 3. But she came back into the game as an outcast at the middle of the season, ultimately flipping on her old tribe because she didn't like them that much. And fair enough. But that doesn't mean they have to like you much either. To her credit, Lil did manage to ingratiate herself well with the dominant Drake Alliance, but never held much of their respect. She was incorrectly pitched as a jury threat, but the likes of Fairplay for being nice. Though at one point they also had a final 2 deal because Fairplay recognized she wasn't going to give anyone a run for their money.
If you're anywhere near that freaking jury, you're gonna win and you know it. You can say, I don't know, but everyone here knows.
That is not true.
Yes, it is. You're gonna pull hearts and flowers like you did this morning. That was just rehearsal for later.
You don't think that they won't go by skills?
Nope.
By strategy?
No. They're gonna go by you sitting there crying. That's what they're gonna go by.
See, a goat can make as many moves and win as many immunities as they want, but the real crux of their status lies in their social game, or lack thereof. Lil did at times make her own decisions on where to go. She had some agency, but then it's like my friend who chose to park in the handicap spot because it was closer to the venue. Efficient, I guess, but that won't prevent you from getting frowned on by the rest of us.
Sure you have something interesting to say.
My question's for Jeff. Can I vote none of the above?
Number 4. I suspect this next goat is going to be a bit up for debate, but make no mistake, I feel really comfortable sitting in my shack and casting judgment upon just how much of a goat this player was. Sugar Kuiper from Survivor Gabon is my number 4, and yeah, remember what I just said about Lil having agency? Sugar's rampant, tactless gameplay of humiliating others and rubbing salt in their wound as they were on their way out the door really soured her to at least half of the jury, whereas the other half, they just didn't respect her whatsoever.
So Randy, you're giving part of Sugar's to Corinne?
Sugar doesn't have one. I offered her one and she didn't take one. So they're mine. You want a half? Go for it. Last chance, you can have a full one.
Thank you.
Randy offers Sugar his own cookie. She takes it and gives it to Maddie.
Yeah, Would you like to repeat that?
Make no mistake, Sugar dug her own grave in Gabon. She chose to behave this way and tank her win equity episode after episode. She took the role of the quote-unquote good people, believing she had the moral high ground, and coupling that mentality with a sense of power. It just constantly ticked people off left and right. Sure, she did call a lot of shots, but it's never just about calling shots, especially if the shots are causing you to lose the respect of your peers. You need to read the room and adjust accordingly, and Sugar didn't do that. She played by her own rules, which also meant she lost by everyone else's.
The night I was voted out, you proceeded to roll on the dirt, laughing uncontrollably. Did you not know that I was going to the jury? Did you not want my vote? Did you just figure there's no way I'm getting it anyway, so I'll make a jackass out of him?
I don't think I needed to do that because you did that yourself.
That's your answer? That's your answer for $1 million?
Yeah. You were a jerk. You were a jerk the whole time.
Contrary to what some may say, I do think Sugar wanted to win, and in some respect was trying to win. I just don't think she really knew how to do it at a certain point in the game. And when faced with a colossal hurdle of a jury ready to rip her a new one, she decided she stood no chance anyway. May as well just throw in the towel and hope for the best. I think anyone from the cast of Survivor Gabon could have beaten her, and if that's not a true GOAT by my measure, I don't know what is. Number 3. Unlike any other list thus far on my channel, I've actually had a bit of trouble deciding where each of my top 3 are gonna go. I think for the most part, these 3 games are interchangeable in how poor they did and how little of a chance they really stood. And on any given day, you could likely sway me one way or another on who played the worst when it came to winning the jury vote. My number 3 leaves a lot to be desired because it's Natalie Tenner Ali from Survivor Redemption Island, the young girl who was only 19 at the time, who was basically Amber Redux in zombie form. Boston Rob took her under his wing right from the get-go, told her to follow his lead, trust his instincts, and she would go places.
I think Natalie's a perfect partner at this point. But it's gonna be hard though. It's like literally picking the girl up, putting her on my back, and I'm gonna drag your ass to the end. And hopefully they're gonna give it to me at the end.
To say Natalie did very little throughout the season may actually be an overstatement. It was really difficult to read how she stood in contrast to the rest of her tribe, but then she got in front of the jury and it quickly became very apparent she was completely outmatched by Rob. On the plus side, I do think Natalie could return and play a better game. I do think she's capable of winning in some way. I just never saw it in her one time playing because she gave us so very little to work with and basically no reason for the jury to vote for her. I can't imagine she stands any chance in any possible Final 3 combination of winning a jury vote on that entire season.
What is it about Rob and this like allure of riding coattails that you chose over Ashley?
I just think that if you were asked by Rob, somebody that has been in this game, has experience, I've never camped a day in my life. I stuck to Rob and we agreed that we would take each other to the end.
Okay, it's fine.
Number 2. There may just be a connective tissue between this top 3 because my number 2 is going to rustle a lot of feathers and I really don't care. I truly believe this person played one of the biggest goatsy games of all time. And in fact, likely stood no chance to win in any Final 3 combination amongst the entire cast. It's that bad. And unlike Natalie in number 3 where I wasn't 100% certain, I feel pretty certain in this case. My number 2 is Russell Hantz in Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains. Mind you, not Samoa. This has nothing to do with his game in Samoa and everything to do with his poor social status in HVV. There's so much he did wrong to garner the respect from others. Such basic social etiquette went right out the window, basically from the get-go when he took control and had a head bigger than Jerry and Colby's cowboy hats combined.
The great, powerful Rupert, the good guy,
you know,
the second coming of Christ.
You can say whatever you want. Because it doesn't really matter anymore.
You're such a dumbass, Rupert.
Here's a pro tip out there. Don't lie on your religion, on your children, on your family. Don't tell people how much they suck, especially to their face. Don't call them dumbasses, flaunting your position, your greatness. Survivor is a game that will recognize your greatness for you when you win at least half the jury over to give you $1 million. But you know what's not great? Behaving like a tyrannical overlord amidst a cast of peasants who realize you are such an easy beat in the end, it'd be dumb not to take you. You're a golden goose on a silver platter.
I want Russell out so bad I could taste it, but them girls won't grow.
Everybody wants to go with Russell to the end because he's so bad that they'll win against him. That's why he's still here.
Many a fan must realize it's one thing to reach day 39, it's another to win day 39. Russell continuously sunk his own ship despite believing the water was keeping him afloat. That's one of the biggest common attributes a GOAT is going to have, a distorted perspective on what is being asked of them in order to win. They either don't understand or they don't care to understand, and for that they get milked dry by the stronger players.
We'll start with you, Russell. You can be a very little man in stature and also in word. And the example that you've set here should have been, only the penitent man shall pass. I think if you came into this tribal and you said that you crossed the line, I think you might be one of the strongest people in the game.
Number 1. Really, what's left to be said? The number 1 greatest GOAT in Survivor goes to the likely first person that popped into your head when you saw the name of this video. Phillip Sheppard, the specialist from Survivor Redemption Island. But you could also probably include Caramone, even though technically he didn't get to the end.
He is a piece of work. He told me that I own his vote for the rest of the time he's here until he goes to Redemption Island. I don't know if he's delusional. I think he's a good-hearted guy. I do. It just might not all be there. Let it be a lesson to you. Government jobs are stressful.
Okay, spare me a moment while I take a deep breath. Even though Phillip did receive one more vote than the number 3 on this list, I still think he's a much bigger GOAT overall, given I don't suspect he's ever going to change or grow or be any less off-putting to a jury than he was in either of his games in Redemption Island or Caramone. Perhaps seeing him a second time in an even more overbearing state only serves to prove my point. Yes, he does posture a lot, and yes, he does display some sense of awareness and agency and control over his actions, but at the same time, none of it ever really quite comes together to form anything that could resemble a winning formula. And unlike Russell at number 2, I don't think he's polarizing. He's very distinctly missing fundamental parts of the core social aspect that is the lifeblood of the game. You can't annoy people at every corner. You can't be undermined or demand whispers questioning your word with everything you say. You must demand respect. And make note, I didn't say command, I said demand. You need to ask for it appropriately by demanding it with your actions. The jury will vote for you in the end either because they like you or because they respect you. And if they don't have much of either for you, then you damn better be in a higher standing than those sitting next to you.
I'm Phillip Sheppard. I gave you my name. You've had 39 days to understand who I am. If you don't, then don't vote for me.
I'm gonna speak, and you're not gonna comment.
I will if I feel the need.
No, you're not.
Yes, I will. I'm doing it now.
That's really pathetic. You look really pathetic. I want to say my piece.
Phillip, you're right. Rob did bring you here to the end, and it's not because of your loyalty. It's because everybody here in the tribe, none of us like or respect you.
The hell with you.
I'm not going to take your word.
The hell with you.
Okay, the hell with me.
Many players on this list and beyond this list, including Phillip, they fail to adjust their default setting to sync with what's being asked of them. They don't adapt. And I think I've said a lot. That's going to be the top 5 greatest GOATs in all of Survivor. What do you guys think? Did I miss somebody? Am I being too harsh? Let me know. This is all subjective. Regardless of whether you guys agree or disagree, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, my name is Peridiam, saying thank you for not being a total GOAT in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Oh my gosh, it's a goat, you guys. I'm not even kidding.
Where?
That black thing right there. And the white thing. Good. Not only does it sound good, you do the face. Eric, stop hitting on the goats. They're a couple.